Bobby Burton, married to Jane for 16 and a half years. We have a total of 4 kids. Right now we're empty nesters. The average high school day, when I got out of school, I would stop and get 1 or 2 40-ounce beers and go home and do chores and drink those. Weekends, of course, were big parties for everybody, but I excelled at it.
College?
Went to Capitol right after high school and started hanging out with a lot of people who actually had a lot more money than I did, and I started or continued my everyday drinking. It interfered with my classes. I wouldn't go to class, I wouldn't do homework, I did terrible on tests. I went there for a year and my grades were pretty bad, so I was asked not to come back. Well, no, I moved to Lexington, Kentucky. I lived with one of my brothers down there. Wasn't a great move. We got along great, but I started running with a lot of people who were older than me, and that's when cocaine kind of became part of my life. My brother also owned a liquor store, which didn't help my drinking any. Life was just a big party for a couple of years there. In that time period, I acquired 5 DUIs, 2 in Kentucky and 3 in Ohio. I did not quit drinking. My first wife, she was a nurse, she worked nights, and I had gone out with my cousin and his girlfriend and got so intoxicated that I passed out in the bar. He took me home. I had gotten sick outside the apartment. I was actually throwing out blood. He got me to bed. Because of my partying, my wife and I were sleeping in separate rooms. I'd also been taking money out of our checking account to buy drugs. And this particular morning, my wife got home and got the bank statement and realized I had been taking out hundreds of dollars to buy drugs. I was very sick, laying in bed listening to her. I knew that I had been doing wrong, and something came over me that I realized that I had to change or I was going to die. I think that was second, though, to the amount of pain that I'd put people through. Seeing her standing there not knowing what was going on, not understanding what was going on, hurt more than the physical pain that I was feeling. It was in the mountains. It was January, February. There was snow everywhere, and it clicked with me after about the 3rd week being there, that I was not strong enough to quit on my own. That's when I realized God was right beside me, and He was going to help me stay sober. Which at first I was just concentrating on not using, so I didn't listen to a lot of that. But the longer I was in it, the more I realized that people did have Jesus Christ in their lives, and that's what was keeping them sober. And I called her back and found out she was from Johnstown. She actually knew a lot of the same people I knew from when I lived here. And we went out, and about 5 months later, we were married. 6 months later, we were married. So we were going to the Presbyterian Church in Johnstown, and Pastor Rusty was there. And in that time, my dad had gotten sick. He had cancer. He died in February of 2001. Well, as we're sitting on Sundays listening to Rusty preach, each week I was actually hearing something else that I could relate to that was about me. And I realized that Jesus Christ was real, that my dad had been saved. I knew he was in heaven. So one day after church, when we're leaving the church, I walked by Pastor Rusty, and I said, Rusty, I get it. I now know where my dad is. I know that Jesus is in all of us. And he goes, I know, I've been seeing a change in you sitting out, in the pews while I preach. And that was pretty powerful. The day she told me, we were both very scared. We cried a lot. But we knew instantly that God was going to get us through it. I knew that God had brought me Jane, and my human self was scared to death. That just the thought of losing her tore me up. But we prayed together. We prayed with our family. We prayed with our friends. God sent us to some excellent doctors. It was actually caught in stage 1, so the chance for recovery was awesome. And so each step of the way, we were reassured that God was with us. And to this day, cancer, in Jane's word, cancer is stupid. And it is. It's terrible, and I feel for anybody that goes through it. But we got through it because of the love of God. That's the bottom line. At first, when they asked if I wanted to be a leader, I said no. I didn't. I thought that with my checkered past, that I wasn't the right kind of person to be on the leadership team. Pastor Dan came over to the house one night, and we stood in my driveway for, a good hour, and talked about where I had gotten through all of my life challenges, how I'd got through all my life challenges, and the importance of Jesus Christ in my life. And as we're talking, I came to realize that since I started following Jesus, that I wasn't in control. Being in a leadership role is not like being a manager at my job. It's to show other people that I came from not believing. I came from a background where I had done a lot of things that weren't biblically accepted, I guess. But I came through those challenges, and I know I came through those challenges with the help of God. And if I had just one opportunity to pass that on to someone else, that this was the right role for me to get in, to accept. Again, it's not like a promotion, it's wanting to give away what I had been giving. In Pastor Dan's terms, to be Jesus with skin on, to give away what someone had given to me.